Feel like you're going nowhere with your writing? This is a feeling that many writers experience. Last week, I sent out an email to my email list and asked people, hey, tell me what you're really struggling with. Tell me where you are right now, what's causing you the most problems, what's causing you the most pain. Now, I have a lot of writers on my email list, so the responses I got back were not surprising. But probably the number one response I got back was from people who said, I feel like I'm going nowhere in my writing. One person said, I feel like I've been working for 10,000 years. I think we've all had that feeling. A lot of people said, I feel like I'm working really hard, or I've been working for a really long time, and I don't yet have anything to show for it. I still haven't finished anything. I still haven't reached the finish line. I still don't even really know where I'm going. So I took these responses, and I've created a new class that I'm teaching this spring. It's called Mastering Motivation, and it takes writers from feeling stuck, unmotivated, and alone. Because when you feel like you're going nowhere and you feel like you've been working really hard for a really long time and you're getting nowhere, of course you're going to feel unmotivated. So it takes you from that place of feeling stuck and unmotivated and I've been working really hard but I have nothing to show for it, to a place where you see actual progress. You actually finish things and you're able to put yourself out there as a writer, which is really important for writer success. I'm a writing coach who has specialized with working with INFJ and INFP writers, but really writers of all stripes, for over 10 years. And I've worked with hundreds of writers at this point. I know this can be done. I know it's possible to move from that place where you're stuck and you're unmotivated and you're alone to a place where you feel really inspired about your writing again and you feel like you are hitting writing goals. However, a few key ingredients must be in place for this to happen, and I've seen it over and over again. Most writers fail because they're missing one or all of these ingredients. So the number one thing is support. Writers need support. I know we all have this kind of idea that the writer is a person that sits in a room all by themselves alone for hours each day and just types away at their manuscript. That is true, but it's not entirely true. Writers really need support. If a writer is totally alone in their writing process, they will feel very isolated and they will feel like there's no one they can really turn to or talk to about their writer problems. People who are not writers don't understand the problems that writers have. So it can be a very painful place to be in. The second thing that needs to be in place is a time commitment. Writers need to show up to learn and, most importantly, to write. They need to have some sort of time commitment on their schedule where they're showing up regularly, there's consistency in place, and they know that it's an appointment they have to keep with themselves. This is otherwise known as accountability. Writers need community. The community piece is so important. I cannot overstate how important the community piece is and also how difficult it is for writers, especially writers who are introverts. It's very hard for us to reach out and join communities. It's even harder for us to form communities on our own. But we do need that. We need a safe place to connect and to take social risks. This is why so many writers are struggling with the subject of this video, which is feeling nowhere, like you're going nowhere in your writing. This is why this is so common. This is such a big problem for writers. If you feel this way, you will feel very frustrated with your lack of progress. You will feel very alone, as I mentioned, with no support around you. You will also feel like there's no way to tell if you are any closer to your goals. So you might have that like, I've been swimming forever, I've been running the race forever, and I don't feel like I'm passing any milestones. I don't feel like I'm passing any markers. I'm just swimming and swimming and swimming. I'm running and running and running. I'm writing and writing and writing, and I'm not seeing the actual progress I want to see. When we are working all alone, and we don't have the support, we don't have the community, we don't have the time commitment, we don't have these things in place, we tend to set unrealistic and overly abstract goals for ourselves that do not work. So a lot of us, we're doing the goal setting thing, but we're goal setting in this weird way that's a little bit dysfunctional, that doesn't work for us. When we come up with unrealistic goals or goals that are too broad, too general, too abstract, this is rooted in procrastination and perfectionism, which is something every writer deals with some of the time. So an unrealistic goal which I hear all the time from writers, is I will finish my book in 1 year. And I hear writers who say, I took a year off from my job, I'm taking a year sabbatical, I'm going to do this in 1 year. I'm going to finish my book in 1 year. Usually writers mean all sorts of different things when they say I'm going to finish my book in 1 year. Some of them mean I'm just going to finish the first draft. Some mean I'm going to finish the whole thing. However, this is pretty unrealistic. 1 year sounds big. It's actually only 12 months. And if you are an intuitive person, this is not a whole lot of time to work on a book and finish it. So this is an unrealistic goal. And this comes back to perfectionism. I'm going to have this really tight deadline. I'm going to have this really neat sort of like finish line sewn up. 1 year sounds really good, and I'm going to do it. It's unrealistic. It's too high of a standard, and that comes from perfectionism. Another goal I see a lot is someday soon, I'll start working on my novel again. I hear that from writers all the time. Someday soon, I will start working on my novel again. This is too abstract. This is too general, too broad. Someday soon could be any time. Someday soon could be next week or in 10 years. There's no concrete date to work towards with that. That comes back to procrastination. Whenever you feel that or think that someday soon I will, you are in procrastination. So the solution to this is to get concrete and real about your writing goals. You want them to be realistic and you want them to be concrete, not too general, not too abstract. So how we shift this, instead of I'm going to finish my entire book in 1 year, we say I will work as hard as I can to complete the first draft of my novel in 24 months. So you see, we extend the timeline out and we add some detail there, right? So now we've got another year, which is much more doable, much more realistic, and we're saying the first draft. We're not saying the whole book or even implying that. So we're getting concrete and realistic. Or instead of someday soon, I will start working on my novel again, we say I will start working on my novel again by March 30th. Right, so we're putting an actual concrete date on the calendar. This is when I'm going to take up this project again. This is the time commitment I'm going to make at this date. This is a concrete goal that we can work with. It's very difficult for writers to do this type of goal setting on our own. We have a lot of blind spots. We have that perfectionism that comes in. We have that procrastination that comes in. We need support and feedback in a safe space so we can find our own direction and we can start working towards it. And we can start tweaking our goals to be concrete and realistic and doable for us. This is what my new class is all about, mastering motivation. We're going to be working on all of this stuff together. I'm going to be sending out 2 more videos in this series to give you a little taste of the class and also to dive deeper in how to truly motivate yourself as a writer, because it can be really tough to sustain motivation. The next video is called, Why is it so hard to stay motivated with my writing? It's easy to get inspired, it's hard to stay motivated. So that's what we're going to be talking about in the next video. If you have any questions at all about anything I talked about in this video, about the new class coming up, about writing in general, please feel free to email me. There's a contact form on my website. Drop a comment in the comments below. Please also subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do videos about all sorts of stuff like this: writing, intuition, creativity, INFJ personality types, INFP personality types, INFJs and INFPs who create and write. There's all sorts of stuff. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And please also subscribe to my newsletter. You get a free book for highly sensitive writers. I will see you all for the next video. Thanks so much for tuning in.